welcome to another edition of Dashboard with Ojay. On today's edition, I have the founder of FarmCrowdy. He goes by the name Onyeka Akumah. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Good to have you on the show.
Same here.
You look too hip hopish. Are you going to become a rapper sometime soon? Do you have intentions of going into the hip hop world?
No, I don't. Although I sing.
You do sing?
I sing, yeah, but
you sing off key, right, or in the bathroom?
I actually sing very well.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Wow. Please,
write songs.
Whatever you do, don't tell me you want to go into the business of singing.
No, I'm not. I do that.
I know singing, please. Okay, good.
How
are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I like dressing like this. I think it's something that I've always enjoyed doing. I enjoy my t-shirts and jeans trousers. If you see me putting on a jacket, maybe because I'm in front of camera now with you, I want to be like you. Or I'm speaking in an engagement, but pretty much it's
prayers be answered in Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do like you dress like this most of the time.
Oh, yes,
is it a thing of millennials? Is it a thing for millennials to look informal even at the workplace?
I mean, how you dress, it depends on the industry you play in, right? So lawyers dress like lawyers. Although recently I heard they've stopped wearing the wig in some places.
Oh, okay.
Doctors have the robe so you can identify them as doctors. But I mean, you're dealing with people that are building technology using laptops. The laptop doesn't care how you're dressed.
No.
And so casual dressing became the norm for techies. Yeah. And because of my background and what I think we build, and which is focused more on technology that is helping different industries, I mean, it's something I've always admired. It's something I've always done.
Okay.
From my teenage years until now. I'm better off casual. I'm free. And there's almost like a dress code for us in the office. It's dark shirt, jeans, trousers, trainers, and then we'll move on with our day's work.
As long as they look good.
Yeah, as long as it's not distracting. As long as you
distracting in what sense?
I mean, you can't dress to the office like you just came from a club. That becomes off the plan. And so as long as it's not distracting, we actually have a bit of a dress code. It's t-shirt, jeans, trainers, or any native attire. Or a corporate attire. I mean, if you want to, you put on a shirt and then. But if you dress like how you look and come to the office, people will ask you, "Are you going for an interview?"
Oh wow! If they start to look at you, HR will say, "Come, Alpha, tell us the truth."
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, do you consider yourself the lord of some e-commerce sector in Nigeria? Because you've been in almost all the e-commerce industry companies in Nigeria so far, as much as I could see on the search engine.
I don't consider myself the lord of anything. I've been fortunate to work with some of the biggest e-commerce businesses that have come out of Nigeria at different times. My journey to work with them was pretty much trying to discover myself in different areas.
Okay.
So whether it was my time in Wakanda, I was exploring my online marketing skills there. My time in Jumia, I was exploring my offline marketing skills there. But more importantly, I was learning how to interact with investors.
Okay.
My time in Congo, I was just bringing everything to play. Travel Better, same thing. I think I've just been fortunate to have those platforms come up, and those visionaries that were coming up with those businesses come to Nigeria to say they want to do them. And then I found myself in a place where I could work with them and I could express my skills in those businesses and help grow the businesses as much as I did. So I don't consider myself a lot of anything. Although I think we've pretty much done well with marketing. We've helped these businesses become household names. I'm excited about that space especially.
So being household names, just because, would you say it's a household name because it's in the mouth of everybody, or because people use you, they pay for your services? Because it's a different ball game for you to be well known, and it's a different ball game for you to be for your service to be required, and then you render for money.
I think people will know you because you create value. I think anyone that's not really creating value over time, you won't you won't last the hype, as it were, over a long period. So people associate value with names, and names become household names because of the value they create. And so I think they go side by side. These businesses that I've been involved in touched many lives. If it's Waka now, there's hardly anyone that hadn't traveled between 2010 and 2014, 15, even up to today, that hasn't bought a ticket on Waka now. That's value. or it's Jumia, or it's Konga. There's hardly anyone that hasn't bought, that have not gone on any of these platforms to buy, whether it's a phone, or it's a tablet, or it's a dress. And so that level of value, that level of service provision turns those businesses into household names. And I think that's the correlation between the two, whether it's just a name because people, I mean, you will be a name because you actually have something. There's nothing that's a name that doesn't really have something to sell.
What would you say is the trust level of Nigerians when it comes to shopping in e-way? Do you think the trust is enough to make you remain in business?
So there was a time that it was discovered that there were about 400,000 Nigerians that actually shopped on one of the e-commerce stores.
Okay.
And 400,000 Nigerians is a large number. The average basket size of this Nigeria sat between 10,000 and 20,000 per purchase.
Okay.
That's a large number. So it's significantly higher than you had in the 2001 to 2010. It's higher now where we are today, but I think it's almost becoming everyday occurrence for people to think about buying a phone and first checking on the website.
Okay.
And that website is a Nigerian website where they can check out the price, and possibly buy the phone there and then get it delivered to them. I think people are trusting systems more. There are a lot more card transactions happening, and that shows the level of trust that people have in online transactions. The people are downloading mobile apps. I can't remember the last time I went to the bank to perform a transfer.
Okay.
I do everything with my mobile phone, and that shows how much I've been able to trust that system over time. As against 2007, 2008, 2009, you had to go and join that queue in the bank. Even if there was a mobile app, so many questions were being asked in that regard. So I think gradually people have evolved over time, and people are trusting these systems, and people are using them. And that's why you see so many fintech platforms coming up, including businesses like ours that are able to thrive on that level of trust that people have in such systems.
Yeah, but let's come to FarmCrowdy. Would you say you stumbled into this business, or it was an evolution? How did you find yourself being the founder of this?
So very early on, I knew there were three sectors that I wanted to pay attention to.
Okay.
One was agriculture.
Passion or for business?
Whether business, passion. They were the sectors for me that I felt that they were missing a lot of investment of technology in the Nigerian context to get value from them. Okay. And those sectors are real sectors. So one is agriculture, two is real estate, three is transportation. Okay. And I was looking out for opportunities to find how I could express myself, whether it's with my technology background and the skills I had there, or in marketing, or in building teams across these sectors. So while paying attention to them, in 2015, I then decided I wanted to invest in the farm, just to try it out. And so I got a friend who is now a co-founder with me in FarmCrowdy. Okay. I said, hey, let's find a farmer we can put money together and invest in and see how this whole farming thing is. Because this was 2015 when the government in Nigeria was telling people to invest in agriculture, and people were getting excited about this. People didn't know which farmer to work with. I was one of those people. I heard so many stories, including a friend that told me how he invested 20 million naira in a catfish farm. And one day there was a flood, and then everything was swept off. And then he had to deal with the losses. And he was telling me, imagine that kind of person. I'm meeting him to say, hey, come and invest in my farm. Like, no way. I mean, I've lost so much money there. Yeah. And so I heard all those stories, but I wanted to try. Okay. So in identifying that farmer, we started understanding that there's so many issues that farmers face. So there are over 30 million small-scale farmers in Nigeria.
Subsistence farmers included?
Subsistence farmers, yes, small-scale subsistence farmers. Okay. That had issues with three main things. One is access to funding. Okay. Two is the technical knowledge to improve the yield from their farms. And three is the market to sell what it is they've produced from those farms. Okay. So we identified that as a problem with 30 million people. So there was a market there. On the other hand, you had thousands and thousands of Nigerians who are constantly told to invest in agriculture, but they know the farmers they could connect with and work with. And so we then said, okay, what if we're able to get these people that want to invest in the farmers to come together and take lower risk? So you're investing smaller amounts, take that lower risk and do a cumulative effort of investing in one farmer that we've done due diligence with.
Okay.
And then your money goes to the farmer, whether it's in cash or in inputs or whatever it is. And then the farmer does the work under our supervision. And then we help the farmer take care of those 3 issues that they have. So the inputs, the technical knowledge, and the market to sell. And at the end of the cycle, we sell the produce and they'll pay you back your money. That was what gave birth to FarmCrowdy. So we called it initially crowd farming. Okay. And I felt it had a better twist to calling it FarmCrowdy. So we put the farm in front of the crowdy. And that helped me assemble my team. I knew we needed technology expertise. So I got a friend that was a tech guy and he's a CTO. I got somebody else to handle the finance and somebody else to handle the operations. And together we just built that business. And over time it's grown. I mean, in 3 years, we've worked with 25,000 farmers. We currently have a pool of 50,000 farmers that are coming to the platform. So that increases the number to about 75,000 within the next couple of weeks. We've been able to grow, we've been able to cultivate over 19,000 acres of farmland across 16 states in Nigeria. Okay. We've been able to raise over 2.8 million birds through the platform sponsorship. We've been able to fatten over 2,000 cows. And so it's grown over time, and we've found ourselves, we've had our challenges, but we've dealt with them over time. And I'm proud of where we are today as a business. I'm quite excited.
I'm proud. I think even my great grandmother will be proud, because in just 3 years you've gotten this far. I mean, it's very, very applaudable. But this is where I have a little challenge, because I don't want to call myself I'm a critic, okay, and I'm an investor. I'm a business person. I'm allowed to do what I have to do because I make money from investment. So this is my question: what is your unique selling point? What makes you different from all other investors, all other investments? For example, I bring money, I make 12%, is what you said, right?
No, you make a range of, depending on the farm type.
Okay.
So you can go from 6 to 15%.
In 6 months.
Depending on the farm type. So the farm type will determine the cycle.
Yeah.
There are some farms that, for instance, ginger is 12 months.
Okay.
And you make more returns with that.
Okay.
And then chickens are ready, for us in our cycle, they're ready within a 6-month period. And then you raise a smaller amount. I mean, you raise a smaller amount of investment for that. So, but back to the question.
Yeah. So what would make me, for example, apart from the passion that I have for birds or for Greek, for example, what would make me say I want to put my money in FarmCrowdy when I could have easily just put it into mutual funds or into treasury bills and all those available investments?
The difference between FarmCrowdy and those platforms is one, when you're sponsoring a farmer on FarmCrowdy, you're doing good while doing well, because you're not just going to make money. Okay. And even if it's not all the time we match what you have with the mutual funds and the T-bills, but somebody's life is changing. Because the average farmer that works with us is growing his income by an average of 80%. And so every time you put your money through our platform, you will make money, and that farmer is going to grow. That farmer is going to make more money than he would have made on his own. Okay. And then you're also, too, boosting food production in the country. So all of a sudden, your small contribution, whatever the case may be, combined with all the other people that are sponsoring, is allowing us to boost food production. So for instance, with 2.9 million birds that we've raised, imagine what 2.9 million birds, assuming we did everything in 1 day. Okay. Nigeria consumes about 2 million birds a day. Okay. Imagine we did all of that in 1 day. So we would have provided at least the consumption for Nigeria in 1 day. And that's the effort of sponsors coming on our platform, not just making money, but actually contributing to the growth of the farmer and boosting food security in the country. Oh. The third point is that when people sponsor on FarmCrowdy, we actually get an insurance cover on your sponsorship. Oh. So about 4% of what you're bringing on our platform goes to the likes of AXA, Mansard, goes to the likes of Leadway Assurance, and these companies provide a cover on your sponsorship. So there's a great level of extent of comfort you get from the sponsorship coming on our platform, that you get your money back. Okay. What we do not guarantee is the return. And so, I mean, because you may have issues on the farm and you have to take care of that. But so far, so good. We've been able to consistently pay back our sponsors with the expected return, with a lot of work we've had to do with, internally. So those reasons are the reasons why if I wasn't even in FarmCrowdy, I'll put my money in FarmCrowdy because I will make money, but somebody's life is changing. I'm boosting food production in the country at the same time.
So there is the farmer, there is the investor, and there's FarmCrowdy. Amongst these three, who makes the most profit?
Who makes the most profit?
Yeah.
So from the sponsor to the farmer, they make about the same. The FarmCrowdy makes the least.
Why is that?
So the sponsor and the farmer are seen as partners.
Okay.
And when you're sponsoring a farm of FarmCrowdy, we'll show you who your farmer is. Okay. You know where your farm is. So that you can, if you're on your own, you want to visit the farm, you can go and visit and see the progress of the farm. So you and the farmer are partners. And then we are pretty much like those that have consolidated that deal between the farmers and the sponsors. So we sit back and allow that transaction happen between the farmer and the sponsor, and the FarmCrowdy takes the list.
Okay, you want to tell me the percentage?
Percentage. So percentages usually vary depending on the farm type. So there are farmers that go for fixed amount. Farmers can make as much as 25 to 40% of the profit. Okay. Then the sponsors make about 40% of the profit. And the FarmCrowdy sits with around 20%.
And that pays all your bills?
Over time it does. So now it doesn't necessarily pay the day-to-day running capital expenses. Okay. And that's why we raise funding. Okay. We've raised over $2.2 million in funding into FarmCrowdy as a business to continue to fuel our growth. Okay. That allows us put lights in the office and pay the salaries and then get the laptops and the technology in place. That is where our capex goes into. The monies we make from the farms haven't necessarily translated into tremendous profit that we're excited about yet. Yes, we've seen some scenarios where we've hit some gross profit, we've hit gross profit here, but we made a lot of losses also because we've been trying models. We try a model, it works, it doesn't work, we close it down. If it works, we scale it up. But that's with every other business you find. So, and then over time, we'll break even and we'll continue to grow. So
would you mind to tell me how much of your money personally has gone into FarmCrowdy?
Before FarmCrowdy, I helped to I worked in a company called TravelBetter. Okay. And in TravelBetter, I was the chief commercial officer and helped them to start up that business. February of 2016, I knew I was going to leave TravelBetter to start FarmCrowdy. FarmCrowdy took off live September of that year, but we launched as a business in November. Between February and September, I was saving about 50% of my salary in order to help me to kickstart.
You were able to save 50%
of my salary.
Of your salary.
And the reason why I did this was I had a previous startup when I left Conga, where I raised funding from an investor and then took that business up from 0 downloads to 300,000 downloads. It was a news aggregator. And then later on sold the business. But I know how much I put in and I know how much I had to learn through that process, that it wasn't exactly the exit I wanted for the business, but I had to do it at that time. Okay. So I promised myself the next time I was going to do my own business again, I was going to take time to save to help start the business. And so, for instance, the salaries we had to pay from September till we raised our first seed fund, our first angel investor invested in us, which was January of the next year. All of those salaries came out of the savings I put in place. The office space, I had negotiated with the realtor to have that space. The laptops, whatever it is we needed to get in place over that period, and all the operational expenses came out of my savings. That was one. Two was relationship capital for me. Yeah. My co-founders came with, my CFO came with the financial model. I didn't have to pay for that. It was part of his contribution to own a stake in the business. The CTO worked on the technology, so I didn't have to pay all of that. There were people that also worked on technology outside of the country that I already had a relationship with, and they were ready to wait until at least we had some capital to pay them. Yeah. And so they put in their efforts to get the job done. The operations person was going to the farm and doing her work. The marketing people were doing their work. So I used relationships to also reduce my cost. And all of this capital allowed us to start FarmCrowdy. So it wasn't just my money, but I had put some savings over a period of about 10 months into the business.
That's quite impressive. But how do you feel when you hear of Ponzi schemes and you see how Nigerians jump into this, quick returns kind of thing. How do you feel? What do you think about Nigerians when it comes to investment?
I think so. First thing is, first, I have never put my money in any Ponzi scheme ever.
Okay.
And not like I have not been approached at different times to say, hey, come and put your money in this and come and put your money in that. The first thing I tell them is, so first, there's the Ponzi schemes play on greed, and it plays on, and greed has a way of covering the intelligence of an individual. Because if you look clearly at what those Ponzi schemes do, they are taking monies and there is nothing happening, and they're cycling money. And many people will say, even for those many Nigerians that are part of it, they will tell you, for many people that got into some of those Ponzi schemes that crashed, they will tell you straight and say, hey, I know it's going to crash, but I want to get my money out before it does.
Quick.
That's greed.
Yeah.
And so people are actually intelligent enough to know that it's not the right thing to do, and they know there's the risk of losing all your money, but they're just gambling with it. And so I think it's just a place of greed, and it's not just Nigerians, it's all over the world. There are Ponzi schemes in the US, there are Ponzi schemes in the UK, there are Ponzi schemes all over the world, and people fall for them because of the greed. And many of those people that fall for them, especially when it crashed, they will tell you, I knew that it was going to crash, but I wanted to get my money out before it did. And it's sad, but I mean, it's the reality of life. If gambling has been in existence forever. There are casinos all over the world, and people will consistently flock those casinos every day to gamble. Same also they will do with Ponzi schemes. And I think it's just, one Ponzi scheme dies now, 5 years from now, another one comes again. Same people will go in there, and then after 2 years it goes down, and then 5 years later another one comes. So I think it's just, it's always going to be there. Okay.
So the government just recently closed down all the borders, right? And one of the few things that escalated in the sense of scarcity was the staple food, that's very, very much popular one, rice. How has the closure of the borders affected your company, FarmCrowdy?
So we knew not too long before it happened that border closure was going to happen.
How did you know? What was
because there were feeders that the borders will close, the price of chicken will go up, the price of rice will go up. I remember one of our advisors had told us then, said, hey, if you know people that are going to buy rice for Christmas, this was sometime around September, just before it happened. If you know people that are going to buy rice for Christmas, tell them to buy it now, because the borders will soon close. But he didn't specifically say, oh, borders will close, he said the price will jump up. So there were feeders all over the place, and people had an idea. I mean, it's just, it speaks to wise people will go and warehouse when you have glut in the season, and then bring it out and sell for a premium when there's scarcity. And I think that's what a lot of people did. I wouldn't say whether FarmCrowdy did that or not, but I know that in FarmCrowdy, we anticipated this. And so we have, for instance, we have chickens that we're going to harvest this week, next week, and we timed it just before Christmas, so that we can have a premium on those birds when we sell them. We have rice in the warehouses that we did transactions on before we even knew there was going to be a closure. So as a business, how it affects us is, with looking in hindsight now, with proper information, if you're able to, it's not just FarmCrowdy, anyone listen, if you're able to anticipate that there's going to be scarcity of any commodity, and you're able to find ways of warehousing it, you make a premium on it. But looking forward, what it has done is, all of a sudden, everybody now wants to go and become a rice farmer next year. What they don't know is that the borders may open, and then the prices will crash. Or even if it doesn't open, if everybody goes and starts producing rice next year, and we don't want to see glut again in season, and then prices will crash. So I think it speaks to market research, and then spending time on data, and then seeing how seasonality goes into commodity trading, and understanding those seasons, and then making sure you're able to play in between the gaps. And for us as business, that's why we continue to invest more in our data, to understand the market trends, to understand the market price, and then see how we can capitalize on those on that information to grow our business.
Because it's my opinion that if the borders are closed right now, your farmers will sell more rice.
Oh, of course, yes.
They will sell
right now, yes.
Right as we
So
speak.
the rice will become premium commodity to buy, and the prices will jump up. There are some commodities that have reached prices that farmers haven't seen in 11 years.
Yeah.
And that is the scenario, definitely. And that's what we're in at the moment. But if these borders get open, like I read recently that they may open up the borders in January. If these borders open up in January of 2020, then the prices will go down again. So, but because this is a good season to sell those commodities, and the farmers are making a lot more. Now, looking into the future, I would prefer a scenario where we are well informed long before the season that these borders will be closed.
Okay.
There is a plan put in place for a continuous sustained border closure for a 5-year period. So that everyone plans accordingly. And then you're now able to produce and then put systems in place to accommodate the production of these commodities locally. As against an abrupt border closure that puts panic all over the place, prices get to the roof and then they crash, and eventually maybe because of panic, because the borders have to be open. I think long term, if we can have such plans in place, then we'll see the real benefits to farmers. Because the farmers that are benefiting today, they're just excited that they're making a premium today, but they can't anticipate whether they will still make that same premium next year. And so they have to plan doing things and still focus around next year the prices may actually go down. And so let me do things for now. And there's a whole now syndrome that is all over the place and people want to spend that money today. But if there's a plan and they say 5 years, you're going to close the border and it's going to happen in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And so in the next 12 months, after the next 12 months, close the border for 5 years, people will start investing in getting ready for that. And then you have a seamless process of actually growing the income of the people you truly want to focus on.
Do you eat from your farmers? Apart from the chicken, do you eat the rice? Do you eat the rice?
The rice?
Yeah, from the farmers.
So we produce the rice, we sell the rice from farm gates.
Okay.
So it doesn't actually get to the point where we do proper production and we have to bring it back to ourselves to eat. So I can't really trace the FarmCrowdy rice. But if you look at beef and you look at chicken, for instance, or let me use beef in this case, we currently slaughter 45 cows every day, and we supply 25 eateries in Lagos. So if you go to some of the eateries, I know some of those eateries that I know we supply, where we supply 30% of all their capacity, I consistently go there to eat because I know that the meat that I'm eating from that place is coming from my farm.
Okay.
Or where we supply the chickens, I constantly go there to eat. Looking into the future, we want to be a lot more visible for people to know that this is a FarmCrowdy product that they're buying. That then becomes even exciting to say, I sponsor and I eat what I've sponsored.
Yeah. Are you aware of the backward integration policy of the government, where manufacturers are expected to have their farms here in Nigeria? Don't you think that would help, when, for example, FarmCrowdy, comes into conjunction with these companies who produce, for example, your spaghetti, your household, food and all of that?
Yeah, it's an exciting initiative. If it's well implemented and executed, it will actually grow the agriculture space. It will grow agribusiness in general. It will grow. It will be tremendously beneficial to businesses like us in FarmCrowdy. And so I'm quite aware of it. I want to see the execution happen and then see how all the businesses out there that have been previously getting their raw materials from outside the country start investing to produce them locally. So yes, I'm quite aware of it and I'm excited about the possibilities for us as a business. But already in Nigeria, we're actually working with some of those companies to provide them to get commodities available for them. That determines what we allow people to sponsor on the FarmCrowdy platform.
So you are amongst the top 100 most influential from what I saw on social media, and I was amazed. How does that help you sleep better?
I don't think of it.
You don't think of it?
No.
How come you don't think of it? Why would you say you don't think of
I
it?
think people that know me very well know that when those things come, I celebrate it that day.
And
then by the time I've slept and wake up the next day, I've forgotten.
you're back to
Because I feel there's work to do. I mean, I'm not building businesses for awards. I'm building businesses to change lives. So, and then there's something else I'm big about. I like to stay humble. And so I like to stay and live and be humble in all of those things, knowing that, I mean, it's not like I'm the most talented person or the most skillful, or the most influential person. It's just that maybe grace and opportunity allowed me to achieve certain things at a certain time.
Yeah.
And I found myself in the right season, and then I got it done. Because somebody else could have done the same thing. I could have done this thing I'm doing today, and I'm in the wrong season, and nothing will happen. And so I'm just grateful to God that I have that opportunity to do that. And so when I win awards, someone said they went on my Wikipedia and they saw, I didn't even know I had those many awards.
How come you don't know?
Frankly speaking, I didn't know it was that many.
Okay.
Until I saw the list.
Oh.
Then I was like, oh, okay. And the person was like, so how do you, I'm like, truthfully, I don't think about them. I win them. I'm grateful. The day I get them, I'm grateful. I'm grateful not just to God. I'm grateful to the team that believed in my craziness to join me to achieve that, because without them, I wouldn't be able to achieve all the things I've achieved. And then once we're done with that day of celebrating, next day I'm looking for the next work to do.
Wow. So for FarmCrowdy and for you, where do you see FarmCrowdy in the couple of years from now?
Okay, so for FarmCrowdy, I'm excited about, in fact, what will happen in 2020. I mean, there are a lot of brilliant ideas that are coming up in the team. And I'm excited about the team we have in place also. Kenneth, who is the managing director, is currently leading that business with so much passion and is trying to get us into the next phase. I'm so excited. So next year, we will be very active with our trading side of our business. Next year, people are going to feel FarmCrowdy. It's no longer, so you start seeing the commodity actually sponsored. So especially in the beef side. So we're going to do a lot more with beef. So people will be able to buy beef from FarmCrowdy. On the chicken side, we'll do a lot with that. There's some partnerships we're going into and deals we're going into that will allow us to do that. We'll then start trading in other commodities that people can relate with. So I'm excited about the fact that people next year will start feeling FarmCrowdy, for a place where you're eating meat and I sponsored the FarmCrowdy.
Would there be a brand on the meat or
on the
package?
So we will get to that
point
where you would see that this is FarmCrowdy. So I'm excited about that next year for the business. Then also there's a potential of replicating the model in other states and beyond other states in other countries. I'm excited about that opportunity to do that next year. I don't want to talk so much about the countries now. I want to just make sure we are there. We've solidly gotten our footing in those countries before we talk about that. But for me personally, so FarmCrowdy has evolved into 3 businesses. So you have FarmCrowdy, which is the agri-tech side. You have CrowdyVest, which is that crowdfunding bit that used to be in FarmCrowdy, that is now focused on the SDG goals and raising money for different parts of the SDG goals. And then there's PlentyWaka, which is the transportation business.
Logistics.
Logistics, so moving people from point A to point B with buses. So people are now able to hail buses and then get to a bus stop. And then the bus, the bus, if you go on the app and say you want to move from Victoria Island to Ojay, and then you pick a bus stop, it tells you what time the bus will get there. It alerts you to the point the bus gets there. You get on the bus, you use your phone to scan, and then you move from point A to point B.
Just in normal countries, how it's obtainable.
Exactly. So that has started now with PlentyWaka. I'm excited about the growth. In 2 months, tremendous numbers coming out of PlentyWaka. PlentyWaka currently does an average of 900 rides per day. In 2 months of it taking off from being a baby that was doing 4 rides a day. So it shows how much potential that I'm quite excited about that space. And so just sitting on top and just coordinating all these businesses, I want to exert myself into that to learn more. And then I want to find myself in a position where I'm able to do 2 more things. One is to partner with the right organization to mentor entrepreneurs.
Oh.
I've done a lot of mentoring and speaking in places and talking to thousands of people. But there was a particular program I went through in 2007 called the Techstars Atlanta program. And that was, even with all the things I know in terms of entrepreneurship, going through that program for 3 months in Atlanta allowed me to see how entrepreneurship is done from a different perspective. And a lot is missing from how the Nigerian entrepreneur embraces businesses and grow their business. So I want to see how I can replicate that kind of program, accelerator program in Nigeria. That's one. Then two, start investing also in other smaller ideas that I identify.
I just have a feeling that you're going to jump into something entirely different in a few months from now.
Oh no!
I see you as almost restless. Like, okay,
once one thing takes off and then it's up there, and then people can run with it and look at it. I mean, it took me 3 years to get to this point where we're now launching PlentyWaka, CrowdyVest. I think I will spend time on these businesses first.
Okay.
Then while doing the mentoring and maybe investing on the side.
Oh, Onyeka, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. And that's it on this edition of Dashboard with Ojay. Make sure you subscribe and, of course, drop a comment. We'd love to have you say something. See you guys next time.